Hey guys, it's Maymay, and do you recognize this paper, Little Chef, that I showed you the other night and told you if I could find the photos of Lydia where we did the Little Chef photo shoot, we were going to make a folio with this. I found them, and I have to see how this is going to look. I can see it in my brain. I want to see it on paper. So this is the paper pack I'm going to use, and this is the folio we're going to use. This is a 49 and Market Foundation Pages folio. This pack actually comes with 2 folios, and I'm going to be using this one for our little album. Now, I filmed a separate video of me putting this folio together, so I'm going to link that for you below. So if you would like to get this same album and then also assemble it the way I did, that's what you can do. But for this video, we're going to head right into the decorating of our folio. So to get started, this is the folio I chose from that little kit I just showed you. And like I said, I do have a video showing you how I assembled it. Let me show what we're going to do first. Do you see how this is not square? I want to square it up. I want to go ahead and add my magnets. And you'll be proud of me. I'm going to add them first, because if you know me, I tend to forget to add my magnets until it's too late and have to do an implant. I don't want to do that. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to add magnets. And I'm going to add 2, and I'll show you why. My first magnet I'm going to add, we're going to add actually to the inside. I'm going to peel the backer off of one side. I have a plus and a minus here, okay? Peel the backer off of one side. And do you see how this is flapping open? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to open this one. This is that bottom flap. But see this? I want this to stay square. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a magnet here. Now let's talk magnet application. For me, I like to make sure I have plenty of room to glue down a page on top of here, okay? If you take this magnet right here to the edge, you will have no room for the paper to glue down your decorator paper on top of that. So give yourself at least a thumb like this. But see how much I can give me? That's what I want to do. The more, the better, okay? Then I'm going to peel off this section, this little top backer piece, and now I have exposed the second magnet. Now here's the key. When you close this, it is going to stick, and where it sticks is where it is stuck. Okay, makes sense, right? And what I want to do is make sure that I'm closing it nice and square. So I'm holding this, and I'm going to lift this up and make sure it is square, and that feels good. But I don't want it to touch until I have it where I want it. And I'm kind of picky about this. You see, I'm going to take my time, because once you've done it, you've done it. And it's really hard to fix it from there. But look, now it's nice and square. And when I open this up, which we might even put a flap on here to open it or something, when I close it again, it will go square again because it has to. See, because it knows to do that. That's what we wanted. Now, why did I do the inside first? Because this one also needs to be squared up. And if I'd have done it first, I might have not given myself enough room on the inside. So here's what I mean. I'm going to push this bottom up because let me show you from the side. Do you see how it naturally wants to bow like that? I want it to be like that, okay? So that means I want to make sure I have it like that before I put this one on. And same thing here. If you're not careful, that wants to bow. I want to push it. Now, are we going to get it perfect? Probably not. Is it going to need to move a little bit? Probably. And it can. It can give a little because you got a big magnet. So it touches plenty. You'll see what I mean. That's hard to explain, but because your magnet is big, even if it doesn't land directly on top of itself, it will still close. All right, let's peel this backer off. I gotta be honest, I think the tip of my pokey tool, I can feel it, has gotten bent, and it's not working as good as it used to. This guy's really, really old, so he might need a break, but it's not working as well with that bend on the end of it. Wonder why that is, right? Okay, so I've just stuck a magnet here, and now I'm going to peel this backer off, and this is where we got to square up, okay? So I'm going to make sure I square up that bottom, and it's good. And now I want to square this side up. I do not want it to drop until I'm ready. And now it can sit down. How nice, right? Look how square that is. And you really do want to take the time to do that. It will matter in the end. All right, so now we can start doing the fun part. Let's go to our paper pack. I love this paper pack, and I want to show you one of the things I really love about it. You don't get one cut apart, okay? You get this twice, and here's what I like about it. That means I can use all of my cut aparts and the back side depending on what I want, okay? So what I want to do first things first is pull out one sheet of all the cut aparts. And while I'm doing that, I'll tell you why. Because I want to be able to use them as I want to. I do not want to accidentally cut the page, okay? So I'm just going to flip through. There may only be one sheet, but it seems like there were 2, and I just want to make sure. So I'm going to flip through every page and make sure we get all our cut aparts out. All right, just one sheet, that's good. That's plenty for what I'm making. So this means this one, I'm gonna use this side of, and this one, I will use all of the cut aparts on. So I'm gonna set that aside for now, we'll come back to it. Now the next thing I wanna do, you guys know I always like to choose my cover first, because I know me, I will get in here and start cutting and cut that page and use it somewhere. So let's see what we want to be our, just the cover. That's all I'm worried about right now. The top flap and the bottom flap. So, ooh, love that. I love that red. This stripe is so cute, would make a good cover. Ooh, this polka dot, I'm probably gonna do that. Y'all just know that, okay? But let me keep looking. All right, I feel like this is my cover page. All right, now I just have to decide, do I want more polka dot or more stripe? And what I mean by that is, which one do I want where? I really think I want more polka dot. I'm a polka dot person, so what that means is I'm gonna cover the bottom page in polka dot. Now, the good news about these folios is they are pretty much the same size all throughout, but I'm a measurer. I like to check, okay? So I'm gonna measure this top page. It is 6 inches wide. I don't want to cover from edge to edge. I want to give myself a little bit of a matte border all the way around. So I'm going to take 1/4 of an inch off. Now, when you take 1/4 of an inch off, you give yourself 1/8 of an inch on either side to show, okay? If you want more to show, just take off more. But we're going to go to 6 inches. And then this should be 8 1/4. And see, it's not quite. That's why I'm glad I measured. This is actually 8 1/8. And I want you to pay attention to that. Had I just cut this down to 8, I wouldn't have the same border on either end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this down to 7 7/8. Now listen, if you don't like 7/8, just go to 8 and don't stress about it. But I'm going to go 7 7/8. So I need 6 by 7 7/8 on this page here. I'm going to go ahead and cut my little decorator strip off because I don't need that. All right, I got my decorator strip off, and I want to show you something that I think is a good idea, a good practice. I want to be able to get the most out of my paper, okay? I don't know where I'm going to need it or use it throughout my album, so I want to stretch this page, all right? That means I want to cut the tall number first. Remember, my tall number was 7 7/8, so I'm going to put this in my trimmer and cut 7 7/8 first. I'll show you why. There's a method, okay? So 7 7/8 and cut. All right. This is what this leaves me. I have this long piece, okay? If I were to take this and put it in and cut it on 6 first, so let's lay it like this. If I were to come here and cut it down at 6, I end up with 2 separate pieces of this. This is more useful to me, front and back, in case I need it tall. That's how I like to do it. So now all I got to do is cut this down to 6. And not only now can I cover the front, but I can also more than likely cover another spot with this. Okay. All right. Now, let me show you something else. This is the page I pulled to do for the topper. But because it is the back of here, what I'm going to do is go to this piece and get it from there. Okay. Does that make sense? So I've got these 2 full pieces I can use, and I'm going to get my little topper piece from here. So let's measure what we need there. You just want to make sure, because you may not want to use it like I'm using it right here on the same page. You may not. You may be using it somewhere else, and you want to make sure you get the most out of your paper pack. All right, this guy is 3 1/4, so I'm going to cut it down to 3 by 6. I'm always checking, always checking. All right, so this would have worked if I'd have cut it down to 6, but you never know. You want that long piece wherever you can get it. Now, let me show you something else. I'm going to lay this out where you can see it. You see this has this curve on it, right? Sometimes I can get away with just using a corner rounder, like a 1/2 inch corner rounder. Let me show you what I mean. So the stripe is going to live here. I'm going to do my corner rounder and see how it looks. Didn't get that in there very good. And just see if it matches up well. And that actually matches up pretty good. I think I can go with that. If for some reason it didn't match up, all you would need to do, pretend like we hadn't done this side, is take your piece that you've already cut down to size, okay, lay it here, trace that little curve, then slide it down to the other end down here and trace that little curve down here, cut it out, and it will match, okay, and it will be just right. But if you do have that corner chomper, that works just fine. So let's glue this down. All right, got my flap glued on. Let's glue the front. This is where you'll see why I like having a lot of space around that magnet, because I can have plenty of room to glue it down. Now, I'm not rounding the corners of this. I'm just going to match whatever corners are already rounded in the folio. And I think the only ones I'm really going to be rounding are those two we've already done. So I'm just going to lay this on and glue it down. I'm opening it up so I can really get here and press. And I really want to press right here above that magnet. See how much space can get glued down? That whole section is getting glued, and that's what you want. All right, let's see what that looks like. Let's close that up. Look how nice that looks. Did you see how it pulled it into shape too? Watch. See how it's laying kind of flat? Watch it. It just pulls it into square because we did all that prep work. Look how cute. I'm loving it. Okay, the next page I want to cover, if you watched my assembly video, you'll remember that I told you I did not put my flap here yet, my photo flap, because I wanted to put down decorator paper before I put that flap down. So let's do this page. Now, I could just use this, and I think I'm going to. I've already got it cut. It'll fit here perfectly. I love this running through the whole book, so we're going to use that one there. Okay, I do want to show you something. Do you remember how I told you should measure every page? Here's a good example. I just assumed this was the same size as this, but it isn't. Do you see I have a little more here than I do on the sides? I'm not going to stress about that. I promise you no one will see that. But if this bothers you, measure every page. So we've got the front covered. We've got this one page covered. So that means I can now put that flap in before I forget. So this is my little flap. These come with the folio, by the way, so they're already done and scored and everything. And I wanted him to live like here, but there's one thing I want to see. I'm concerned now that this may cover my magnet. I'm also glad I didn't install it because of that, right? Let me see how this is going to close. I don't know if I like that. I feel like that's a little bit wiggly now that I've done that. So what I may do is not put the flap here because my magnet is right there. Let's see if I move my flap to the inside, if that will help. Yep, now my magnet is completely open and it can work. So let's see what that one does if I do it this way. Much better, much better. So we'll move the flap to the inside. Glad I caught that because I would be sad later. All right, so I'm gonna put some glue on this little piece and then I will place this down. Now what I'm doing is I'm just trying to get the same distance here that I have here in that little square, and this is where a little photo will live. And I have plenty of room to decorate around it, and my magnet will still work and everything. And when I go under here, I'm probably gonna put a photo under here. I can cover that flap up with whatever I put underneath there. All right, let's see if it'll close. We're good, we're good. All right, let me tell you what's next because you don't want to watch this. It will be boring. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to run through every page and I'm just going to cover it with decorator paper just like we did here. I'll just measure, cut, and place. I'm not going to do my flaps yet. I think I'm going to use a coordinating paper for these, but all my big spaces, front and back, I'm going to cover and we'll get right back together. Okay, so I got all of my pages covered. You'll see that in just a few minutes, but I want to show you this. I'm excited to get to use this stamp set. This set is called Prompted Album, and what it does, it's kind of from our Prompted Memories, Prompted Album. I think we had one other prompted one as well, but kind of series. And what you can do with this one is use it in your folios or your albums or your mini albums or scrapbooking. And it kind of prompts you as to what photo to put where, you know, so much fun making memories, this just happened, things like that. But I'm going to show you how I'm going to use it. Today I'm going to use, or right now, I'm going to use more than just this, but right now I'm going to use this little tab right here, and I'll show you what we're going to do. I'm going to start with some squares. These are actually rectangles. I'll show you why. This is 2.5 by 2 3/8, and yes, I did 2 3/8 because I like those 3/8, and we're going to score this. Okay, so with the 2.5 inch side in your scoreboard, you're going to score this at 1 1/4. That's the center, okay? And look at these colors. They're so cute. So I gave Shannon, I'll show you what I did. I said, Shannon, here's your challenge. Will you find me these colors? And so she went through the American Crafts cardstock that we use, that we love so much, and pulled out colors to match. So that's what you'll see. And that's what I would suggest for you too. Just get one of the pieces of the cardstock and run through and find some that match. So on the 2.5 inch side, scoring at 1 1/4 everywhere, all the way down. And see how I'm checking right here? I'm making sure I'm on the 2.5 inch side. These are only 1/8 of an inch different from side to side, so you want to make sure you're paying attention to where you're scoring. All right, so I got all these guys scored. All right, so using my angle punch, I'm going to use the large angle punch and the tabs we just did. I'm going to fold those in half and crease them. This is kind of my cheater method for getting a tab if you don't have like a die for cutting a tab or something like that. And then on the folded line, I put that in and did the little angle punch. So look, see how I get this tab? And I want to do that on all of them. Now, you don't have to use the angle. You can use your rounder. You can use a scallop or a stub or whatever you have for a punch. I just thought the angle would look good because of the stamp I'm going to use. So I'm going to do that to all of these tabs, and then we'll move to the next step. So I have 5 tabs ready, and now I'm going to make the pieces to go on it. And let me show you how we're going to do that. So I went into my scrap bin and found these pieces of white, and these are a little bit curved. Let me get it to lay flat. There we go. And from the stamp set, I took that tab I showed you I wanted to use, and I'm going to ink it up and stamp it onto this white. And then I took the saying that I want to put inside my tab and went ahead and stamped it in there. Okay, so this one says that just happened, so I'll stamp that right like that. And I made one for both sides, meaning I have one tab, but I'm going to have one on each side of the tab. And so what you do next is you cut this out. And I'm just going to take some scissors and cut this right on the line. I'm not leaving any edge. I'm cutting right to the black line. You don't have to do that. You can leave some edge if you want to, but I'm just going to go right to the black line just like this. And for the sake of camera, Shannon cut all of these out for me. And I will show you, I'll just stop there for now and show you what we got. We have these, and then she just brought these over. There we go. She just got these done.
I'm trying to make it like a TikTok.
Oh, that would have been awesome. So she made these for me. She got all those done. And one more thing I'm going to do. I always like to do this. I'm going to take my memento, and I'm going to take the brush end. And because no one cuts perfect, I don't care who you are, you don't cut perfect. Shannon's like, I don't.
For yourself.
I'm going to run this around and just color the edge, and that'll make it look like we did a perfect cutting job. Now, listen, I try to say this a lot. When you're doing this, there's one very important thing, and that is you hold this to the back of the image. You hold your pen to the back. Let me show you why. I slipped. Do you see my slip right there? And if I had slipped to the front, I'd be sad. So you always want to keep your pen to the back. Shannon would be even more sad because she did all this cutting. All right, I'm going to run around. I'm going to color the edges of all of these, and we'll move on. So these are our tabs. These are the pieces that are going to go on them, and look how it's going to look. It's going to be so cute. Look at this. It's going to go up here. I don't want to glue these on yet, though. I want to put my tabs in place and then put these on later so I know they lay out correctly. You'll see why in a second, but I'm going to move these aside, okay? And I'm going to bring our album back over and show you what I also prepped earlier. So here's the album with all the pages covered. I'll show you as we go. You'll get to see, isn't it cute? Oh my goodness, I love this. I love it. Isn't that cute? Okay, so here's what we're going to do. So these little flaps, I'm going to cover these in colored cardstock. That's when we got some of this coordinating cardstock. I just thought this would be cute. And what I also want to do is I've cut or not yet, I'm going to print my photos at 3x5 because I want to have some of this color show behind the photo. That'll make more sense as we keep going. But before I do anything, I want to install my tabs, okay? So I want my tabs to go onto my flaps first. So here's what I've got. I've got my little tabs, and I've given myself like 1/4 of an inch to glue onto here. But what you might want to do is kind of lay this out. I noticed this earlier. If I lay this out like this and kind of get this where I want it, I can make a pencil mark so I know just how deep to put my tab in. So I'm just going to place one of these on just for a place. See, that's really good. That's a good layout there. So then I'll take my pencil and I'm just going to trace. You don't have to do this. I just want to show you that if you want to be a little more precise, you can do this and it'll work great. So now we'll put glue all inside of our tab. I just go ahead and put it on all of both sides. It doesn't hurt. It just helps it stick good. Then I'm going to sandwich this guy, and I'm going to have it stop at my pencil mark. Just like this. And then press that down so it'll stick, and then I'm just going to erase that pencil mark. There we go. Now I'm going to glue this piece on top, and it will sandwich that tab in. Now let me tell you something. It's not the end of the world if you forget and have that tab showing. It really isn't. It'll be fine. You can leave it either way. I just think it's kind of neat for it to be in there like that. It looks like, wow, we really thought about what we're doing, right? So there's that. Then I'm going to take my little tabs. Now, you can wait and put these on when you put the photos in if you want it to match the photos. But what I'm going to do is kind of the prompted album thing, and that is I'm going to put these in place, and it will tell me what photo to put here. I want to put one that goes with What a Cutie. Do you see what I'm saying? And then I'll flip this one up and put one underneath, and also color. Let's go with this orange color. So tabs are installed, little sayings are on, we're good. Let's go to the middle. Okay, in the middle, here's what's going to happen. One tab is going to go on top, and one tab has to go underneath. You won't see it until you open the first tab. Not a big deal. It'll be super cute. So I'm going to take this guy, and I'm going to mount him like this, and he'll be the one that lays over, okay? And then we'll put one underneath here. Okay, so check this out. I've got my tab here, but I want to show you something that kind of was funny and worked out cute. So this tab's upside down, right? But I did the oh so silly thing there because I thought that was cute. And I also think it's cute behind this. And so then I have so much fun over here. Another thing that happened that I'm not going to stress about is this yellow tab ended up with a yellow backer. No big deal. You know, everywhere else there were two different colors, but this is the only one, and it's in the back. And when the picture's there, nobody will notice. And then this one is also upside down, but I just put making memories there because I thought that was kind of cute to have oh so silly, and we made a memory because we did it upside down, right? Doesn't have to be that way. You can place it this way if you want and have oh so silly showing. It does not matter. I told Shannon I may even put some pictures sideways here. I think that'll be cute because y'all know that is my signature. Sideways and upside down and backwards. Okay. So let's look at what we've got here. We have all of our little flaps covered with the color waiting on the photos. Look how much space we've got left too. We've got some here. When we open this up, we've got some space here. We have some here. I put this tab toward the top. You might want to put it at the bottom, but I don't know. I just put it at the top and it works just the same. I will be putting something here. I'm not exactly sure yet what. Let's close it up and see how it's laying. So this side, then this side, and let the magnet come together. Then here, and bring this guy to the top. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? Okay. I know you want to see the photos and the decorating part. That is next. We are getting there. The reason I have to take a break is this takes a while to film, so I want to get this footage to you. So you'll get this video this week, and the following week we'll do the Little Chef photos and all the decorating, and I'm so excited to show you it. It's going to be so cute. All right, guys, be sure to subscribe, like, and hit that bell notification so you'll get a notification reminding you when this part 2 comes up. Also, don't miss our Monday night series. It's called Why and How You Should Start Paper Crafting in 2023. Be sure to check that out. That's every Monday night at 6 p.m. Central. And we'll have part 3 going up soon. And you can catch the other 2 parts that are already there as well. And if you make one of these, maybe you're making one right along with me, I want to see it as you go. Head to our customer gallery at MaymayMadeIt.com and post pictures there. Or even better with your as you go kind of project, head to our Facebook group called Maymay Made It and So Did I. There's so much inspiration there and so many folks you can chat with about the process. And I like to see your photos there too. All right, guys, thanks so much. And until next time, bye now.